Hello everybody, looking forward to do some Pilates with you today. We are going to do some exercises that are going to help give you a stronger back. And we are going to use one of these blocks. If you don't have a block and you're at home, no worries. You can just get a book and you can use that. It will do the same thing. Okay, if you could get one with a little bit of thickness around it, that would be great. Alrighty, so why don't we just get right to it? I don't like to get into a lot of dialogue and just go right into the movement. Alright, so I'm just going to come onto my hands and knees first. And let's just do some rounding of the back in cat-cow. So pressing the hands into the floor, pressing the knees into the floor as you scoop out the belly and coming up with the back towards the ceiling. Using a breath in. And then as you breathe out, you can bring the belly down towards the mat. And then breathing in, coming all the way up to the ceiling with the spine. And you feel stretch in between each of the vertebrae. And then you're going to come down and you can feel the vertebra come together. And let's do that 2 more times, scooping out the belly, coming all the way up. Really feel a stretch between the vertebra. And then pressing the belly down towards the mat in cow, and the vertebra come together. And doing one more, scooping out the belly, coming all the way up, pressing those hands into the floor as well as those knees. And then bringing the belly back down into cow. Now, let's go in a circular motion with the upper body, using your breath in and out. And then going in the opposite direction, breathing in and out. And then going in a circular motion with your hips as well. And then if you do that, make sure you go in the opposite direction. Breathing in and out. Good. Now we're going to press our right hand into the floor and pick up our left. Okay, pressing in the belly, making sure that both knees are on the floor and you're not twisting the hips at all, okay? So pressing the belly in, pressing the knees into the floor, pressing that right hand into the floor. We're going to take the fingertips and come all the way up towards the ceiling. Make sure that your hips are over your knees here as well, so you're not too far back or too far forward. Feeling that opposition stretch within the arms, pressing that hand on the floor, fingertips up towards the ceiling, breathing in and out. And then you're going to come back down, twisting the spine in the opposite direction. I'm going to try not to hit my mic. And you're going to feel a nice stretch all the way through that shoulder. And then if you want to, you can bring those hips down towards your heels to get an extra stretch through the back and also that shoulder. Breathing in and out. Good. Now pressing the belly in, pressing that hand into the floor, twisting the spine back in the opposite direction, fingers come up towards the ceiling, feeling the opposition stretch within the arms, and then pressing the belly in, coming all the way back down. And we're going to do that on the other side. So breathing in and out. Pressing the left hand into the floor as well as both knees. Right hand slowly comes up towards the ceiling as you are twisting that spine. Feeling an opposition stretch through the arms. Breathing in and out. Then you're going to twist the spine down and come in the opposite direction as that arm comes all the way underneath the other one and coming down onto the floor, stretching that shoulder. Now you can always bring the hips and the bum down towards your feet to get an extra little stretch. Breathing in and out. And when you're ready, you can press the belly in, pressing that hand into the floor, untwisting the spine, and coming all the way back up to the ceiling with those fingertips. Opposition stretch through those arms, breathing in and out. And coming all the way back down to the mat. Now, we're going to reach for our good old block. We're going to put our hand underneath it. If you don't have a block, you can always use one of your books or something like that. As I said previously, just make sure it has a little bit of depth to it so you can really get the benefits of using it, okay? Now this is for our upper back, and it's really good to feel that shoulder blade go across the back as you're doing this. So what we're going to do is press on the right hand into the block, pressing in the belly, pressing the knees into the floor. So breathing in and out, pressing in the belly, and you just bring that left hand up to an imaginary block, and then coming back down to the mat. And we're going to do that again. Breathing in and out, pressing in the belly and bringing that hand up to the imaginary block. You feel that shoulder blade go across the back as you do this. And then as you come down, the shoulder blade comes back across. Okay, breathing in and out, pressing the belly in, coming all the way up to that imaginary block, and then coming all the way back down. Let's do one more just like that. Breathing in and out, pressing the belly in, coming all the way up to that imaginary block. You feel that shoulder blade go across the back, and then coming all the way back down. Now we're going to do the same thing, but lift that hand up to the ceiling like we did in our stretch. So breathing in and out, pressing the belly in, bringing that hand up to the imaginary block, pressing the right hand into the block even more. And now we're going to twist the spine without twisting the hips, bringing that those fingertips up towards the ceiling. Now, if you're having trouble with this twist, you could always move your knees a little bit wider. That might help you, okay? Breathing in and out. And then coming all the way back down to that imaginary block, and then dropping back down to the mat. Let's do that again. Breathing in and out, pressing the belly in, coming up to that imaginary block. Then twisting the spine, coming all the way up to the ceiling with those fingertips. Opposition stretch within the arms. And then coming back down to that imaginary block, and then coming down to the mat. So 2 more times. Breathing in and out, pressing the belly in, coming up to that imaginary block, and then twisting the spine, bringing those fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then coming back down. 1 more time, breathing in and out, pressing in the belly, coming to that imaginary block, coming all the way up with those fingertips, and then coming all the way back down to that imaginary block and coming back down to the mat. Whew, let's just sit back on our hips for a second and do a little shake, shake, shake. I say, do shake like Taylor Swift. And then we're going to go over to the other side. So you can bring that block or book a little bit over so that your left hand will go on it. Now, same thing as the other side. So we're going to bring that right hand up to the imaginary block, pressing the belly in, pressing the left hand onto the block, bringing those knees down into the mat as well. Breathing in and out. Shoulder blade comes across the back. And then coming back down. Good. Breathing in and out. Coming up and then coming back down. Good. We're going to do this 2 more times. Breathing in and out. Pressing in the belly, pressing the knees into the mat, coming up to that imaginary block, and then coming back down. 1 more. Breathing in and out. Pressing that hand into the block, coming up to that imaginary block. Feel that shoulder blade go across the back, and then it releases as it comes back down to the mat. Now we're going to do the twist of the spine and fingertips up towards the ceiling. Breathing in and out. Press that belly in, coming all the way up to that imaginary block. Twisting the spine and bringing those fingertips all the way up towards the ceiling without twisting those hips. Opposition stretch, breathing in and out. Coming all the way back down to the imaginary block and then coming back down to the mat. Breathing in and out. Pressing the belly in, coming up to the imaginary block. Then twisting the spine, coming all the way up with those fingertips. Really feeling that opposition stretch. Breathing in and out. Coming down to that imaginary block and then coming all the way back down. Really feel your shoulder blades going across the back, okay? Breathing in and out. Pressing in the belly, coming up to the imaginary block. Twisting the spine, coming all the way up, feeling the opposition stretch between the arms. And then coming back down, untwisting the spine, going to that imaginary block, and then coming back down to the mat. We're going to do 1 more. Breathing in and out. Pressing in the belly, coming up to the imaginary block. Twisting the spine, coming all the way up with those fingertips. And then coming back down to the imaginary block, and then back down to the mat. Woo! Let's just sit back down onto our heels and do that shake, shake, shake. Now, we just did a lot of upper body work. So when we do this next exercise, make sure that you don't drop down into the shoulders. You want to press the hands into the mat. So whoops, I just hit my mic, sorry. So then you don't drop into the shoulders, okay? But what we're gonna do is take this good old block or book and put it underneath our knee this time. So now this is good for the lower back because you're gonna bring this hip up to the other one now, onto the imaginary block again. So breathing in and out. Pressing the hands into the floor, also the knee into the block, bringing up that knee to the imaginary block, and then coming back down. Good. Using your breath and breathing in and out. Pressing the belly in, pressing the knee into the block as well as the hands into the floor, and then coming back down. We're going to do 2 more just like that. Breathing in and out. Pressing the belly in, coming up to that imaginary block, and the hips are now in the same plane, and then coming back down. Good. And again, breathing in and out. Pressing that belly in, pressing the knee into that block, coming all the way up, and then coming back down. Just 1 more, breathing in and out. Pressing the belly in, pressing those hands into the floor, knee into that block, and then coming all the way back down. So now we are going to come up and then do a fire hydrant. So this is also getting into the hip, but it's really good for the back as well, okay? So breathing in and out. Pressing the belly in, pressing the hands into the floor, knee into the block. Come up into fire hydrant without twisting the body. That's very common, okay? Then bring that knee back down to that imaginary block and then back down to the mat. And again, breathing in and out. Pressing the belly in, coming up to that imaginary block. Coming all the way up into fire hydrant and then coming all the way back down to that imaginary block and coming back down. Let's do 2 more. Breathing in and out. Pressing that belly in, coming up to that imaginary block. Still strong with those shoulders. I'm sure that you can feel them because I can feel mine. And then coming all the way up to fire hydrant, coming back down, and then coming down to the mat. One last one on this side. Breathing in and out. Pressing the belly in, coming up to that block, coming up to fire hydrant, and then coming back down, and then releasing all the way back down to the mat. So I would take away the block for a hot second, sit back on those heels again, and do a little shake, shake, shake with the upper body. We did work that first, so I can definitely feel my upper body because it was already worked and now we're just using it again. So we're going to come up onto the other side. So now I have my left knee onto the block and pressing those hands into the floor, pressing that knee into the block as we bring up the other one to the imaginary block, okay? Breathing in and out. Pressing the belly in, coming all the way up to that imaginary block, and then releasing that leg all the way back down to the mat. So you should be able to feel this in the lower back as well as the hip, of course. Breathing in and out. Pressing the belly in, hands into the floor, knee into the block, coming up to where the hips are now aligned, and then coming all the way back down. And again, breathing in and out. Pressing the belly in, pressing those hands into the floor, pressing the knee into the block, and then coming back down to the floor. 2 more times. Breathing in and out. Pressing the belly in, bringing that leg up to the imaginary block, and then coming all the way back down. 1 more. Breathing in and out. Pressing that belly in, coming up to the imaginary block so your hips are aligned, and then coming all the way back down. Now we're going to add the fire hydrant, okay? Breathing in and out. Pressing the hands into the floor, coming up to that imaginary block. Bringing the leg up into fire hydrant without twisting the upper body, right? Belly is in, pressing into that upper body, pressing that knee into the block, bringing that opposite knee down to the imaginary block and coming all the way down to the mat. We're going to do 3 more. Almost done. Breathing in and out. Pressing the belly in, coming up to the imaginary block, coming all the way up into fire hydrant, and then coming down to that imaginary block, and then coming down onto the mat with that knee. 2 more. Breathing in and out. Pressing into the floor with the hands and the knee into the block. You're up on the imaginary block, coming up and down, and then coming all the way down to the mat. Good. And again, breathing in and out. Coming up to that imaginary block, and then coming up into that fire hydrant without twisting the upper body, coming back down to the imaginary block and coming down to the mat. Last one, breathing in and out. Pressing in the belly, lifting that leg to the imaginary block, coming all the way up into fire hydrant, and then coming back down to that imaginary block and coming down to the mat. Now we can take away that block, put it to the side, sitting back onto our heels, and we can just bring our knees back a little bit so then we can come down into child's pose. Using your breath, breathing in and out. And again, breathing in and out. Then pressing in the belly, pressing the hands into the floor, and then coming all the way up, sitting onto your heels, 1 vertebra at a time. Come up and sit up nice and tall. Good. So now, I think that we're done. We did the upper spine and also the lower. So when you do these exercises, try to just do them slow and controlled and really feel into the body. I would love to hear in the comments how it went, and also if you could feel the difference. If you're sitting up nice and tall, if you feel nice and strong in that back, that would be great. And join me for more videos. I put more out weekly. So thank you very much. Subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you at the next one. Take care.